Hey, it's me. We often hear that life on Earth is like a school. We go from one grade to the next through many incarnations, learning, growing, and purifying ourselves. But it's not enough to know this in a general way. We need to understand how our own problems, hurts, and yearnings fit into this bigger plan. And that starts with knowing ourselves on a deeper level. Sometimes we think we know ourselves just because we can explain our outward actions and choices. We forget, though, that we all have hidden emotional drives that push us into certain reactions and decisions. So I want to show you how your outer problems tie back to these inner conflicts. Many of the things that happen to you, you pull in like a magnet because of how your emotions really work beneath the surface. Once you uncover these deeper feelings, you can find a clear reason for your life and its challenges. That kind of self-understanding is a major turning point for a soul. It's where you start moving from living unconsciously to living with higher awareness. Knowing your true situation in this life is a big step toward returning to God. So one such emotion or way this plays is authority. So I want to talk about authority specifically today, what it is and what it means in our lives. Authority first shows up when a child starts to realize that parents, teachers, or other grown-ups can forbid certain wishes. Even if parents give love, there are still times when they have to say no. And this can feel a little hostile to a child. Whether the child grows up to handle authority in a mature way depends on how they deal with these early experiences. If old unconscious attitudes stay stuck, an adult can still respond childishly whenever some form of authority comes along, like society, the law, a boss, anyone whom they perceive as being more powerful. As a child, you want love and acceptance, so you felt you couldn't fight authority. As an adult, you might still feel torn. On the one hand, you hate being restricted, and on the other, you also fear getting rejected by the group. So only by becoming aware of these hidden feelings can you bring them out into the open and set yourself free. People usually react to authority in two more broad ways, okay? Most of us mix the two up, okay? So I'm going to kind of point out the two extreme broad ways, but just know most of us, this plays out in a more subtle way. The first broad way of reacting to authority is that of rebellion, right? Some openly resist and overtly fight authority. They see it as an enemy because it blocks what they want, even if their wants aren't harmful. And this can range from mild attitudes to joining radical groups or even committing crimes. The second broad way that people generally react to authority is that of submission, or perhaps alignment is a gentler term for this. Others decide deep down to unite with authority, mostly for safety. They might become harsh law upholders, clamping down on those they label as lawbreakers. Often they act this way to hide the rebellious side in themselves, which they can't accept. They fear being exposed, so they overdo their loyalty to authority. Both extremes come from childish thinking. Over time, these attitudes can spin into a vicious cycle. Rebellion grows stronger the stricter the law upholder becomes, and the stricter the upholder gets, the more the rebel wants to lash out. Neither side can see that they're fueling each other's behavior. If we don't work on our own unconscious fears and reactions, this chain reaction can lead to serious social problems like crime and war. It's important to figure out which side you lean more toward, the rebel or the strict law upholder. Notice how this affects your life and your relationships, maybe with family, colleagues, or people you care about. If you tend toward the rebel type, try to see that real good authority does exist, even if you haven't always experienced it. Many forms of authority are flawed, yet they still serve a role in maintaining order. If you're the law upholder type, search back to when you might have felt rebellious as a child, but then switch sides out of fear, perhaps. Becoming aware of this can soften your harshness and help you understand quote unquote lawbreakers with more compassion. True authority looks and feels different from the rigid stance that's fueled by worry and judgment. Think about why Jesus, for example, befriended people who were perceived as lowly or criminals. He didn't excuse their actions, and he showed them mercy because he understood their struggles. Yes, there must be consequences for truly harmful deeds, and it's key to see how the wrong kind of authority can drive people deeper into resentment. Real solutions come when we look at the deeper roots and avoid letting these vicious circles gain power over us. Everyone shares some piece of responsibility for keeping these circles going. So by examining your own reactions and understanding them, you can help break these negative cycles. I encourage you to take some time to think about authority. See how it may connect to your own life, your childhood feelings, or your way of dealing with others now. Because once you do, you can start to see more clearly the difference between earthly authority and divine authority, your own inner authority, the difference between self-righteous authority and a truly higher authority. You'll start to sense the difference on a deeper level, not just with your mind, but with your intuition. And when that happens, when you're connected with your own deeper inner authority, there's no need to rebel nor submit to every form of authority, earthly authority. I love you. Connect soon.